Test, 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 test. All right, I'm starting a new thing. Type 1 if you can hear me. We've been doing this for a little bit now. It's been working fairly well. One, y'all can hear me. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Red Seat Radio live stream. My name is Corbin. Who do we got in the house tonight? Who we got in here? Gerbil, JP, Bay Sox becoming a member of, becoming a member of Red Seat Radio. Thank you so much. It's good to see you again, my friends. Christian, Damien, Daniel, Mr. Money, Mike, Madness, Sports Kid, how you doing? Jared, what's up? J6, how you doing? Video Game, how are you? How are you? How are you? What up, Dallas Sound guys? How you been? DT. Okay, so this is throwing me off, chat. First and foremost, this feels incredibly high, doesn't it? Yeah, Dread. I actually do remember Dread. What's up, man? Okay, so this is throwing me off. Sometimes YouTube does this where it'll like just randomly change it instead of names and showing just your regular names. It's showing me your usernames, and now I'm all messed up because some people have different usernames than their display names. So if I call you the wrong thing tonight, I apologize. But what is going on, everybody? Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in, folks. Sorry you were late, brother. You're a minute early. Welcome in. What's up, Bob? How you doing, my friends? What's up, Angel? See, this is what I'm talking about. I'm assuming your display name is not Angel, but Duran for Anthony Rendon. Oh, there we go. Starting off the stream hot. Look at that. Perfect. Chat, how have we not thought about this before? What's up, G? How you doing? Bay Sox, what's up? Hey, thanks again for the membership, my friend. I appreciate you. Yo, Corbin, is it crazy I want to say Don traded instead of Willier or Jaron? I've been thinking a lot. I think it's kind of crazy, and we can actually kind of get into that a little bit. I had it on the docket a bit because I know Chris Cotillo tweeted it out earlier. And if we had time, I was maybe going to get to it. But if you guys want to start there, we could start there too. You got a Kevin Youkilis jersey? Let's go. Sign Drake May, dude. Throw strikes. I bet Drake May, dude. Drake May has gotten. Specifically, Will Campbell got me back into football a little bit, but watching Drake May, unbelievable. Can we just sign Dahlbeck to a minor league deal? There we go. Yeah, just so you get the jersey, perfect. Duran for Mookie. Yeah, guys, we're really cooking with gas tonight, huh? Really cooking with gas tonight. Dodgers just signed Miguel Rojas. Oh, he is he's going to retire after this year. So it's his last year in the big leagues. And things are starting to heat up a little bit. Emilio Pagan is back with the Cincinnati Reds. Corbin, you think the Red Sox make some moves at the deadline? What deadline? Miguel Rojas retiring? So maybe I read it. Maybe I read it wrong. The Dodgers are bringing back Miguel Rojas for his final season in the big leagues on a 1-year deal. Rojas is expected to assist the Dodgers front office in player development once his time as a player is done. Yeah. Oh, you meant winter meetings? Yeah, I think there's going to be something going on at the winter meetings. I do. Yeah, there was a lot of movement today, actually. What's up, Tyler? What would make a Duran Hunter Green trade realistic? A pitcher. Corbin. Eli. Why are the Blue Jays signing so many great pitchers? Because they're going for it. They want to win a World Series, and they said money's not going to be a factor as to whether or not we win or lose this World Series, folks. That's the exact reason as to why. I'm going to bring this down just a little bit, some more in the frame. There we go. And now I made it crooked. Hold on. Beautiful. Beautiful. Bregman and Alonso soon? I don't know, dude. I don't think, personally, I don't think Hunter Green to the Reds is going to happen. I've thought about it a lot. Or Hunter Green trade from the Reds, I should say. I've thought about it a lot. It doesn't make sense to me personally if I'm the Reds to trade Hunter Green. We'll see, though. We'll see. The stove is hot. The stove's a little bit hot. I'm just gonna say the stove's a little bit. I mean, we have winter meetings start Sunday, right? Sunday through Wednesday. So we've got a whole lot of things there. We're gonna be live. I think we're gonna do the last day of the winter meetings. We're gonna do a live stream and see if anything pops off right at the end. Because that's usually when like the trades and stuff get done. Duran for Yamamoto. Yeah, see, guys, we're throwing out fantastic ideas tonight. Do you think we will sign Breggy? I don't know that there's much of a market for him right now. I would imagine the Red Sox are kind of sitting there just waiting him out. You thought winter meetings already happened? No, there's a GM meeting at the beginning of the offseason, and basically what that is it's essentially every GM getting together, and they go over like rule changes, like upcoming events and stuff like that, and they kind of get to know each other a little bit, and then the winter meetings is essentially just you have the Rule 5 draft, obviously, but then the winter meetings is like. It's like every man for themselves. You know what I mean? All I want for Christmas is a power hitter. That'd be fantastic. Why is this going crazy? A little Jeff Passan tweet. Oh. Miguel Rojas is returning to the Dodgers. I know it'll never happen, but I wonder if we could pull off a trade for Hunter Brown from Houston for Duran and lots of prospect capital. Yeah, it would take a lot more than Duran to get Hunter Brown, unfortunately. Kidnap Joe Ryan and disguise him as Sonny Gray. Any chance that Bregman gets done early? I don't think Bregman gets done early. And again, I think it's because what we're starting to see, or at least what we're starting to hear a little bit right now, is that there's not really, like, we haven't really heard a ton of teams. Like for Alonso and Schwarber, we've heard front runners, right? Mets, we're going to talk about the Red Sox and their pursuit of Alonso tonight. For Schwarber, it's been like the Reds, the Phillies, the Mets have checked in. We have heard nothing. We've heard nothing about Alex Bregman. So I'd imagine that he's going to be sitting there and he's going to try and wait out this market. I think Alonso's right now feels a little bit better. So I would imagine he signs first. That's all I want for Christmas too, Mike. The YouTube overview thing came out and I was in the top 5% of your watchers. My man, Trick Shots. Let's go. Huge. Here's why. Said he's on an incredibly team-friendly contract. Jaron is just pure vibes. See, I'm not building my team off of just strictly vibes, dude. I'd rather, and it's not like Cedon's a bad clubhouse, dude. In fact, I think a lot of people are. I think a lot of people love Cedon. What up, Robbie? Betting odds we go over the second luxury tax threshold, like plus 7,000. I don't know. The Yankees don't have room for Kyle Tucker, dude. I don't think the Yankees make a splash like that. Maybe I'm wrong. What's up, Arlen? How do I feel about Narvi going into next year? I love Carlos Narvaez, and you thinking that Wong could take his spot is kind of crazy to me. Who's more likely, Alonso, Schwarber, or Okamoto? It sounds like the Red Sox are pretty, at least involved in Pete Alonso. I don't know. Ime, I've heard nothing connecting the Red Sox to Ime outside of people being like, yeah, that would probably be a good fit. But I think what we're gonna see. So for those of you who don't know, the timeline for Japanese players is a little bit different than just regular not American, but regular MLB free agents, because they only have a certain window that they can sign in. I believe it's 30 days from when they're posted, right? So they have to sign before the end of. They have to sign before the end of December, most of them. I think all of them, right? So I think we're going to see a lot of conversations pop up about their markets during the winter meetings because this will be the first opportunity. I think a lot of them, actually. I know Ime's coming over early December, which is probably in this time frame right now to meet with teams. Okamoto, I think, is going to be at winter meetings, and I don't know what Murakami's doing. I'd feel okay with a Bragg reunion in Okamoto. Yeah, I wouldn't be wrong. I wouldn't be mad at that at all. What do I think about Bo Bichette? I don't think the Red Sox pay Bo Bichette. Would Bellinger be a solid pickup for first base if we lose out on Alonso? I don't love Bellinger's swing in Fenway Park over a long period of time. To be honest. I think it's first week of January they've signed by. Yeah, end of December, first week of January. There we go. Who'll be the first to counter the Jays getting ceased, Red Sox or Yankees? What are the Yankees looking at? Like, they're looking at bullpen arms, I imagine. What are they looking at offensively? Like, where are they? Where? Shortstop? You would talk about the Sox. I've been talking about the Sox should trade for Tariq Skubal, George Kirby, and Paul Skeens for 2 years straight. One of them will hit. One of them will hit. All right. So let's start our discussions here. First thing I wanted to talk about was this right here. I've been seeing a lot of discourse about this. I personally, and we'll talk about this. This is by Sleeper Red Sox. I don't know. They've got a bunch of these things. Who is Corbin? Who is Corbin? I only know Coach Corbin. I've been seeing this a lot going around Twitter and some of the news sites and whatever. And this is by Jim Bowden. And he's saying the Mets and the Sox are the most likely landing spots for Pete Alonso. This has a lot of people thinking, all right, the Red Sox are fully in on Pete Alonso. I'm not too sure that this is what this is indicating. One, first and foremost, Jim Bowden, look, hands up. I am not anything close to a reliable source, anything like that. But Jim Bowden has had his moments where he has not been the most reliable news reporter of all time, right? The second thing here is that, this isn't the Red Sox being interested. This isn't the Red Sox, putting out a huge offer or anything like that. This is just simply the most likely landing spot. So I'm not going to get super caught up in this right now. Now, there was somebody, a guy's name was Incarcerated Bob, who tweeted out that the Red Sox are going to be, putting in a huge offer for Pete Alonso, and it's most likely the Red Sox because he hates the Mets. Guys, I'm going to give you one piece of advice this offseason. If you want to keep your sanity, if you want to hold on to your sanity this offseason, do me a favor. If you see a nameless, faceless Twitter account tweeting something like that, I don't care how many followers they have, just let it breathe, right? Let it breathe, have a laugh at it, and move on with your day. Because at the end of the day, right, there are very few people who truly have an inside track on specifically where the Red Sox are at with these kind of things, and more generally where baseball in general is at with these kind of things. You guys remember last year when we, Thanksgiving, it was like some random dude was like, oh, the Red Sox have officially signed Juan Soto, and then 12 days later, he was a New York Met for the biggest contract in history of baseball, right? Let's pump the brakes on believing any of those. I don't know. Robbie Hyde said he seems like he has hard feelings towards the Mets. I mean, yeah, that I could see it, right? Sorry, I'm getting a bunch of notifications. So I could see how the relationship would be a little bit strained with the Mets. I mean, they wouldn't commit to him longer term last year. They gave him the offer, and now he's back out on the market. And for him, you got to be sitting there and you got to be saying, well, look, wait a second here. Now you're interested in bringing me back? Why would I want to go back with you guys when you made me prove I could be a productive player, even though I've been a productive player for the entirety of my time here with the New York Mets, right? There has to be part of them that's like, why would I want to go back to a team like that? But at the end of the day, look, money talks, right? And the Mets have a lot of money. You know what I mean? So I don't know what to make of this. I don't know what to make of this. This is why we're not doing a video on it. We're doing a live stream about it because in my opinion, I don't know what you guys are sitting there thinking. I don't know where the Red Sox head is at with all this, right? We've heard different people. Yeah, we've got a couple more things, Eli. We've heard different people say that the Red Sox want multiple big bats. We've heard multiple people say the Red Sox don't want multiple big bats, right? They want a big bat, and they're including Bregman into that conversation of the big bats, right? Or we've heard that the Red Sox don't really know what they want. And I got to be honest with you, I don't know that the Red Sox know what they want, right? I don't know if Breslow has a clear idea right now as to what limitations he has on him. Even the conversation we've had about the Red Sox, not wanting to spend into that second luxury tax threshold, and that conversation of not wanting to spend a ton of money this offseason, that was an opinion piece, right? It was one guy within the organization. So I sit here with all of this since we just don't know, right? And the other thing too is, a lot of us sat here and we said, a lot of people sat here and they said, hey, wait a second, there's no way the Red Sox are making another deal. Wow. Who is this? Are they in the chat right now? This is incredible. Unbelievable. 0.3% of viewers. Can we get some claps in the chat for this guy? Narvi is my goat. Hell yeah. If he's here in the chat right now, everyone say what's up to this guy. But let's talk about this one too. Let's talk about this one a little bit too. Corbin, what do you think the Red Sox need in order to put them into World Series contenders? I would say mostly offense right now. What's up, Dennis? What's up, Dine? Hey, I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Patriots. Let me get back to you, Derp. There's one guy, I can't remember his name though. Do I think Cease was an overpay? Yeah, but you're gonna have to overpay for just about everybody. In order to get to World Series contention, let's talk about this a little bit. I personally think it's one big home run hitting bat, and then it's a very contact, very level, even bat. And I don't know if that means, Alonso and Bregman or Bregman, Okamoto, or whatever it is. But as long as you could figure out exactly how you can balance out both home run hitting and contact ability, if you can get both those things, your offense is in a really, really good spot, right? With a full year of Roman Anthony, a healthy Willie Abreu. And the second thing I want, and this isn't, I don't know, so much of a need to get to World Series, but just personally, like, I just get sort of cross that border for me would be to get a longer term solution to the top of your rotation, right? And this is what we're talking about right here. Part of Breslow's hesitance to proclaim Gray as the number 2 starter was because the Red Sox might acquire another starter this offseason who would slot in front of him. For now, aside from Garrett Crochet as the team's true number 1, the rest of the starter designations are subject to change, including potentially Sonny Gray's, right? So this is why I sit here. This is why I sit here and I say, well, why did we all freak out about, you know what I mean? Why did we all freak out about this? Let's let it hang out and let's see what happens. Saw an article that the pitching prospect we gave up is rocketing up the minors, looks to be a stud. Brent, Carlos Narvaez is one of the best defensive catchers in baseball. The offensive ability is there for sure. I'm not really worried about Elmer Rodriguez Cruz. I'm not. You know what I mean? You've watched all 26 of the last videos? Hell yeah, CG. Thank you for being here. I'd like to see the front office talent checklist for pitching. What are their ideals? We can kind of mess around and try and figure that out versus what the Red Sox have picked up versus what they've kind of let go. I think obviously off-speed stuff is a huge thing for them, but I also think finding the zone is a big thing for them too. For us to contend seriously, we need contend. I assume contend. We need to re-sign Bregman, sign Alonso, trade for Tel Marte, sign/trade number 2 pitcher. Nah, JP, I don't think you need to do all that. I don't think you need to do all that. You need to do some of that. Doing all of that would be a little bit overkill, in my opinion. I think you could get to legitimate World Series. Like you put up a fight against, if your pitching is really good, you put up a fight against anybody, right? Even if your offense falters a little bit, you can put up a fight against anybody if you've got a good rotation. I mean, let's be honest, right? The Yankees beat you because they didn't have a better offense. They had better pitching. Just at the end of the day, right? They had more reliable pitching. They had pitching that was able to go deeper into games than the Red Sox had. And that's not Conley Early's fault. That was more of the fault of the health of your squad here. But also at the same time, too, it was like, if you had a really good Brian Bayo start in game 2, you're probably talking about them at least getting the ALDS, right? But it's both. I get it. You're right, Bobby. Yeah, the Red Sox certainly made the Yankees pitching look good. I mean, they got lit up against the Toronto Blue Jays. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, right, the Yankees also made your pitching look worse. And so if you could figure one part out, the other part's going to come a little bit easier. Do I think Edwin Diaz is an option for the Sox? Make it a super bullpen like some reports were saying? I don't think it'll be Diaz, no. I think a guy like Pete Fairbanks would be a better option. Not a better option, a more realistic option, like in that realm. Official prediction for winter meetings-ish Sox acquisitions. Okay, so I do think they signed one of the bigger bats during the winter meetings. I think those guys just really want to get a deal done. I mean, specifically Bregman and Alonso. I think Schwarber's okay waiting a little bit, but Bregman and Alonso, they went through this last year, right? I don't know that they just want the longevity. If they can get the longevity, or whoever's offering the longest contract, I think they go for it. So I think one of those two ends up signing. I don't know if the Red Sox are in on him. I would imagine one of those two comes to the Red Sox. The second thing I think the Red Sox do is I do think we see some sort of bigger trade. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what it happens, but I imagine it's for some sort of starting pitcher. Why aren't we considering Cody Bellinger? He plays decent first base, so I'm not wrong. Yeah, you're not wrong. My opinion why they aren't targeting first base for Bellinger is because I think one, there are going to be teams that offer him the opportunity to go play outfield, and I think he gets paid more that way. Two, I think I don't know that his bat would play incredibly well at Fenway Park. And three, yeah, I just don't think they're willing to put up the money that it's going to take to sign Bellinger, and I don't think it's the worst idea to not do that. Jaron Duran, password, and Kyle Harrison for the Royals for Cole Reagan. I saw that. Proposal on Twitter the other day. Listen, if that's what it takes to get Cole Reagan's, I'm all in on it. I don't know that that's going to happen. I don't know that is what is going to happen. You think I'm going to the Fenway opener? Probably. I probably will be there. Someone else who donated is going to be there, by the way. I'm waiting for the tickets to come out. And once the tickets come out, I'll buy them and then I'll give it away. I know Breslow didn't sign Yoshida, but he has to find a way to dump him. Yeah, I think so. Did I see a 7-team trade idea? No. No, I did not. Do I think Bregman could reach the $300 mark? No, he won't get close. I'd be pretty shocked if I saw him in the $200 million mark. Any pitcher who isn't borderline ace, fans will hate. Anyone who gets traded, there are going to be fans that don't like it. That's ultimately what it is, right? How many tickets do you get if you win? 2. The Sox would probably get a better deal if they try to... What is Mike debating here? Spencer Schwellenbach. Is that how you say it? Schwellenbach would pitch up at Fenway and wouldn't have to give up more than Duran. I would like Spencer, yeah, but I don't know. Have I ever heard about? Yeah, I actually have a video on my channel about last year's Fenway Fest if you guys want to take a look at it. One more guy I'm curious about, no one's talking about, is Jorge Posada's switch hitting switch. Dude, I have no idea what you're talking about. Do I think Corbin signs the next couple of days? Nah, Corbin's waiting out this free agent market, dude. How pissed will people be if they go and get another pitcher before getting a bat? I wouldn't be. $5 super chat from Bay Sox Bombs. Thank you so much, man. Who are more likely trader candidates for the Red Sox, Cole Reagans or Joe Ryan? Who's the more likely? First and foremost, thank you for $5 super chat. Secondly, more likely to be traded. So here's the thing. A lot of people are saying like they would prefer Joe Ryan. You know what I mean? If we're talking in terms of more likely to be dealt, I think it's Reagans, right? I think it's Cole Reagans. I think the Royals are more open to, like, because the Twins are kind of rebuilding, right? So in order to get Joe Ryan, I think the Red Sox need to do, the Red Sox need to put together a really big prospect package. I think with the Royals, you can kind of fit it together with, you know, your big piece being from the major league roster. And I think that's going to be a little bit easier for the Red Sox to attain than to go for Joe Ryan. Personally, who do I want more, Cole Reagans or Joe Ryan? It's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough, right? Because and I get it. Their injury histories. So if we start with Joe Ryan, right, and this is a guy we've looked at a lot. This is a guy we've had a conversation about a lot. This is a guy who's been posting, right? 171 innings, 135 innings, not great, but also not terrible, right? 29 starts, 160 innings, 147 innings here. But there are a couple of things that sort of, in my opinion, are interesting when it comes to Joe Ryan as opposed to Cole Ragans. Because the first thing is that if you look here, he's a free agent in 2028, right? Which means that he is going to only be with this team for 2 seasons. Now, personally, I'm not big on the idea of the, lockout taken away from the 2027 season. I still think that's a little bit of a doomer take, but it's always a possibility, right? So what you'd essentially be doing is gambling a little bit. If you trade really good pieces, really long-term pieces for Joe Ryan, and you end up playing, let's say, 100, 110 games or whatever in 2027, then he hits the free agent market. Is it worth it? The other thing is I do think that if we're just looking at overall statistics, like let's compare Joe Ryan's best season, which is certainly 2025 for sure, with Cole Ragans' best season. I think Ragans has a higher ceiling. He's also a little bit younger and has more control, right? So you have to figure out in your front office if Cole Ragans, who is by far and away the riskier pitcher, at least right now, is worth coming in and giving what it takes for the longer-term payout. Now, one thing that stands out to me, and a lot of people go, okay, so he's injury-prone, right? Kind of. He does have 2 Tommy John surgeries, but the reason he's had 2 is because his first one, there were complications with it, so he had to get it redone. So it's like 1.5, right? And then since then, this was his rookie season, so whatever, right? 2023, he pitched a full year, right? It was out of the bullpen for most of the year with Texas here, right? That's ultimately what this was. The second thing is you got that full year in 2024, and it was incredible. A 3.14 ERA, it was a lower FIP, it was a 1.143 WHIP, right? He led the American League in strikeouts per 9. He only walked 3.2 batters per 9. I don't know. I think his ceiling is much higher than Joe Ryan's, and I think the Royals are more open to trading for what the Red Sox would be willing to trade for. So that would be why. In my opinion, Ragans feels like the more likely option. I'd be very happy with either, to be honest. Right. I would be very happy with either, to be fair. Thoughts on Mackenzie Gore? I've seen a lot about Mackenzie Gore. I really wanted the Red Sox to trade for Mackenzie Gore last season. Excuse me. I'm curious in Mackenzie Gore. But the problem is for me is this would be... This to me would be a true, this is a project, right? This would be a true project. There's clearly some control issues here, right? The walks aren't terrible, but there's clearly a little bit of control issues here. He's given up a lot of contact, getting on base wise. The FIPs are pretty good, right? So it's not a ton of home runs or anything like that. It's a lot of walks and hits here. The hits per 9 are almost a hit every inning at this point, right? You can see the talent for sure. This 2024 season, in my opinion, is the biggest sort of, example of what he could potentially be at some point. I don't know how he only had a 0.8 WAR in 166 innings. That doesn't make a ton of sense to me. But to me, yeah, I'd be interested in it. But I get worried about the prospect haul that it would take to get Mackenzie Gore. I'd imagine it's probably about the same as it would be to get Joe Ryan. And at that point, I would just want Joe Ryan, right? Noah Khan is releasing new music. Let's go. Jess, you lost your moderator. I mentioned it before. It sounds crazy, but I tried to trade for DeGrom. I would get worried about DeGrom for sure. I mean, again, that's like we're talking pitchers right now. This is the area the Red Sox need to be in, right? If they're gonna trade for another pitcher, it's gonna be in this range where it's a Gore, Ryan, Reagan's, in that sort of ballpark. The worst thing they could do is give up a ton of money or a ton of prospect capital or whatever for a guy who's probably going to sit in the number 3 or 4 slot, right? And I think the Red Sox understand that. Part of me is worried that the Sox might feel as they have too many bodies in the back end of the rotation between Crawford and Sandoval, early and Tolley. They might not make another move for a starting pitcher. Yeah, that is definitely a concern a little bit. But again, I go back to this right here, right, where we were talking about it earlier, where you sit there with this conversation and it's like, okay, you know what I mean? All right, have a good one. I think they understand that yes, they have a ton of depth, but they also need to use a ton of depth this season, right? And I think what they're trying to do is make sure that they're top of the rotation set. Yeah, make sure that they are good to go. And they can just plug them and play them, and you like the Breslow said it himself, right? We want a guy who could start behind Crochet in a playoff series. I think Sonny Gray could be that guy. I genuinely do, right? But he's 36 and on a 1-year deal. It's far from a guarantee. It's also not a long-term solution, even if it is a guarantee. So now you need to find a guy who's a longer-term solution who feels more like if he's healthy, he's going to do that. Michael King. If the Red Sox had a chance at Michael King, I'd be all in on Michael King. I don't know that they're going to spend, like, if they're going to acquire another pitcher, I don't think it'll be on the free agent market, but I mean, dude, this guy's a stud, right? Look at this season. Yeah? I mean, 2024, it was a full year. There's injury history here for sure that needs to be talked about, but full year, you had a 2.95 ERA with a 3.33 FIP. Right? Even this year, which was basically half a season here, you had a 3.44 ERA, much higher FIP, but the strikeouts still looked good. The walks still looked good. It was really the home run that bumped up his FIP quite a bit, right? I mean, you look at this jump here, it almost went up a half a home run. But I'd be very interested. If this was an option. I don't know. What is he projected to get? Yeah, I'll talk about Okamoto in a second here, Eric. I'm getting on a Michael King tangent, I think. MLB free agent. Is this the one with the contract? Yeah, okay. Oh, he's right there. 4 years, 80 mil. Like if this is really what it is, I don't think the Red Sox, you know what I mean? I just don't see them spending $20 million on another player, which sucks, on another pitcher, which sucks, but I just think it's the actual reality here. Okay, Kazuma Okamoto, yeah, that's my dog. If the Red Sox are going to go with a big bat and a supplementary bat, and I've said this before, right? The supplementary bat has to be Okamoto. Like if you're looking at sort of, these are the top 5, right? It's Tucker, Bichette, Schwarber, Alonso, Bregman. And you're not going to get Kyle Tucker. We haven't seen the Red Sox connected once to Kyle Tucker, which I don't know. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a bad thing. I don't know. Bichette's probably a very, very, very far maybe, in my opinion. So it's most likely going to be one of Schwarber, Alonso, Bregman, right? If you get one of those 3 and then you say, look, dude, I'm good, we're going to supplemental bats, and your supplemental bat is like Mike said here, JT Realmuto, I lose my mind. Right? I go crazy. JT Realmuto in his prime wasn't a crazy good supplemental bat. He was a solid bat. He's not that like supplemental, okay, now we've got 2 potential big dogs in here, right? You know, maybe Jorge Polanco's that guy a little bit. Maybe Jorge Polanco fits in with the Red Sox a little bit, but he's not the greatest defender in the world. He'd slot in mostly a DH, and I think that's workable, but the Red Sox also could use a little bit of flexibility in that DH spot, especially if they're able to trade Masataka Yoshida. However, if you get Okamoto, not only does this dude have plus defense at first base and third base, right? He's plus at third base. He's plus defense at first base. So whether you get Bregman or not, you can plug him into that other hole, right? You can plug him into third base. You can plug him into first base. He's going to be solid over there no matter what. He's a high contact guy with legitimate pop, right? Again, we talked about the comparison between him and Seiya Suzuki. Now, he doesn't have as much home run potential as Seiya Suzuki, but he could very easily be a 20, 25 home run plus guy for you in MLB. So if you add that onto an Alonso, well, that's what, 60 plus home runs that you're now adding onto your team. That's a huge, huge boost. And we talk about, oh, what do the Red Sox need to do to get to World Series contention? How about a really good defensive infield? Right? We talk about the offense and the pitching all the time. Well, the Red Sox have three of the most ground ball pitchers in the entire sport. You get a good defense behind them, they're going to look a hell of a lot better, right? Personally, I still think it should be Meyer at shortstop, Story at second base. They're going the opposite. That's fine, whatever, right? But you add in Bregman and Okamoto at first base. That's a really, really good defensive infield, right? So I love Okamoto. Love him. What's up, Amy? And Bobby, I don't know which one. You know what I mean? I'm good with the supplemental bats. Like I would rather just let the young kids eat if you're gonna add in a JT Realmuto. I just simply there's no reason for me to sit here and say, yeah, that's a good idea, right? Corbin, thoughts on the Sox traded for Nate Eovaldi? I haven't seen his name mentioned. I wonder if you think that's an option. I don't. I think the Rangers are going to hold on to Eovaldi. I think they're pretty hell bent on making sure that he's with the team. I would imagine that. I'd imagine that he's staying where he is. I mean, if he's available, it's certainly an option. Although he is getting a little bit older and dealt with some injuries last year, so I don't know. I think there are better trade options available. I think Okamoto makes a lot of sense for the reason you say, but it will also jolt Boris to reconsider his delaying game because one of the players for sure will not be on the Red Sox. Maybe. It's Bobby? All right, I'll just call you Bobby then. How do we feel if the Red Sox trade for Yandy Diaz? I'd be cool with it. I'd definitely be cool with it. I don't know what it would take, and I always get scared of trading with the Rays, though. It would be, but that'd be another one of those, like, if you're going to go for a big bat and then a supplemental bat, that's fine, right? That to me isn't in that JT Realmuto conversation. JT's a ridiculous idea. I agree, dude. If they end up with JT, I'm throwing a fit, right? If their offseason is Sonny Gray, Alex Bregman, and JT Realmuto, and I like the Sonny Gray trade. And I like Sonny Gray. I think he's going to be a good addition to the Boston Red Sox. I think a lot of people are underrating him. And then, you know what? For absolutely right reasons. But if that's your offseason, after you had an 89-win season, after you were 5-6 games away from winning the division, you brought in JT Realmuto and Sonny Gray as your big new additions. Sonny Gray did not say he was the ace, no. I'm interested to see where Breslow feels Campbell fits in this year. Doesn't sound like its infield or outfield is definitely full. Yeah, I have no idea, dude. I have no idea. I talked about that in today's video, actually. They're having him play in the Puerto Rican League this winter, which I think is a good idea, right? It also gives him the opportunity to say, what does he look like in the outfield against, relatively kind of similar-ish, because there's going to be some few Major League players playing in there, right? Let the Tigers sign Alonso, and let's trade for Torkelson. Send Casas out too. Torkelson, no. You know what I mean? Like Torkelson, I'm good with. He heated up last year for sure a bit, but like this was his first legitimately productive season. I don't know, dude. Would I be interested in Torkelson? Probably not. I don't know. This is like a huge strikeout guy. I also don't see the Tigers signing Pete Alonso. Where does Christian Campbell get wedged in the lineup? If he's with this team, I'd imagine probably the bottom third. Red Sox best move is to kept what? World Series contender if we sign Bregman and Okamoto and trade Duran plus for Reagans? Yeah, I think you are. I think you immediately are. You have to be, right? Because you already are projected to have the number 2 rotation in baseball. You add Reagans to that, you're very close to number 1. And I don't think you're passing the Los Angeles Dodgers at any point, but you could give them a run for your money. If Crochet does what he did last year again this year, and you have Reagans behind him throwing like he did in 24, with what Sonny Gray could potentially be. I mean, you could potentially have 3 guys with like a 3.3 ERA. You know what I mean? What, Texas? And then you add in Bregman, right? And I get it. People are weary on Bregman. I personally think Bregman's going to be a positive, right? I really do think he's going to be a positive. I mean, he was a positive player last year. Trevor with a 199 super chat. Thank you so much, Trevor. The question he asked was, how do we get Cattell to the Sox? The answer is Jarren Duran in there. The answer is Jarren Duran in there. That's really the only answer you have. Right? Because if you go here, let's just take a little peek, shall we? Toronto rotation's much better than if you had Crochet, Reagan, Sonny Gray, Brian Bayo, and like Conley Early, and maybe a 6-man. I don't say that the Red Sox rotation's worse, dude. I just don't. So if you do Cattell, right? We do Duran. Can we trade them to both? Well, they'll split custody. If you do like Duran and toss in like oops. I really don't want to trade like Kyle Harrison maybe. That kind of works, right? I think the big one is you got to include Duran in this deal, or I don't think Arizona would want anything. Would Arizona want an outfield of Carroll and Duran, though? Dude, that sounds like a pretty decent outfield to me, if you're being honest. How was Carroll a bad defender this year or something? I keep just adding new tabs as opposed to like you could easily have Carroll in right and Duran in left. I think, yeah. I don't think they'd have any problem with 2 of those guys. You know. Same type of guy twice? Nah, dude. Carroll's a different beast. Look at this, dude. Exit velocities, barrel rates, bat speeds, walks a ton. Yeah, he's fast as hell, and he gets triples for sure, but, like, he's going to put some out of the yard, 100%. I mean, dude, 25, 22, 30 home runs with 30 bags. Like, yeah, Duran was a star in 2024. This guy's always going to be better. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how it works. You want Schwarber? I'm interested to see what Schwarber where he ends up going, what his deal looks like, to be honest with you. The Dodgers have liked Duran. Whenever you get prospects and flip him in a 3-team trade for a pitcher. Maybe. You know what I mean? 199 super chat once again from Bay Sox. Who's the claps to the chat for Bay Sox? He's been unbelievably generous tonight. Slayton breakout year coming. I love that idea. I would love to see him break out. Nobody wants Harrison. No, there are definitely people who want Harrison. Just wait the next week. It's coming trades. Yeah, there'll definitely be some. I mean, the free agent market's already heating up a bit here. Right, we had Cedric Mullins, we had Emilio Pagan, we had Miguel Rojas just signing like what was that? The span of this was the exact same time, the span of like 5 minutes. So I'm hoping if the Red Sox keep Rafaela, I'll be happy. That's the other thing I wanted to talk about. Thank you for reminding me. So Chris's take here is, I wonder if he delete it? Looks like he deleted it. Now, here it is. All right. So Chris Cotillo, obviously beat reporter for the Boston Red Sox, is saying, look, like we talked about this, right? Where there's sort of this disconnect in terms of where it sounds like there's a disconnect in the Red Sox valuing Duran as this 7-win player for the foreseeable future, whereas I think a lot of teams are seeing him as this sort of in between 7 and 4, like a 5-6, which is still a great player, but like 7 puts you into like superstar territory, right? He goes, well, why don't we just go with Rafaela? To me, Rafaela might be a little bit more valuable than Jarren Duran. I know that sounds crazy. I know that sounds ridiculous considering Cedon is never really, I mean, he had that one really good moment in 2025 and then sort of puttered out a little bit. But I mean, you look at the WARs, right? They're right around the same as each other. Cedon's got legitimate, platinum glove level defense, which should have been a platinum glove this year if it wasn't just fan voting and was actual statistical voting here. He's a much cheaper, he's much younger, and he's on a longer term deal. Like this dude isn't a free agent until 2032. You have a ton of time with this guy to work through this kind of stuff, right? And we've seen it before. We've seen the ability to go out there and be a legitimate star player. So I sit here with Duran and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if he's the guy that if you're going to trade anybody, this is the guy to do it. You know what I mean? You don't think it's crazy to say that Rafaela is more valuable? I think there's going to be a lot of people that would disagree with that. I think a lot of people would say that it's crazy to say that he's more valuable than Jarren Duran. My only argument is he plays about the same amount of games, right? You can't really give the durability. He gives you way better defense no matter where he's playing. And I don't think you can argue that. I think the only thing you could say is is he going to ever develop into, if he becomes a league average bat, dude, I don't know. Marcelo Maya's in the trade if we go after Marte. Oh, I would hate that. This is like, it would probably make sense to some degree for both sides, but I really don't want them to trade Marcelo. I really think that dude is going to be such a high floor player. Like even if Marcelo ends up being sort of this like, around league average bat, but he's going to give you a ton of doubles. Like, I don't know. He definitely had a tough first appearance in Major League Baseball for sure. Right? Like, didn't walk a ton, struck out a bunch, didn't really hit for average, but I don't know, dude. When you look at him in the box, all I see is just this kid could be really good. Predict AL East standings. That is quite literally impossible right now. I don't know what the teams are going to look like. Cedon, Abreu, Meyer, Anthony, Narvaez all have very little experience. They will improve with more at-bats. Yeah, but I would put Cedon a little bit lower on that list, though, right? Anthony, Meyer, yeah, they don't have a ton of at-bats. Narvaez has a full season, but yeah, it's 1 year, right? But Cedon's had 3 or 4 years now where it hasn't been great. And I think you look at it and there's still a little bit missing, you know what I mean? But that doesn't mean he can't improve. Again, you're talking about 24 years old. You would like Duran and Carroll on the same team? Yeah, I'd imagine. Predict how many home runs Casas hits in Major League Baseball this year. I was going to say around that 10, maybe. I don't think he's with, even if he gets traded, I don't think he's with a big league club until a couple months into the season, man. I think if he's with the Red Sox, if he's not with the Red Sox, there's no way he starts opening day with the team. They're going to make sure that guy's been healthy. Do we think the Sox are thinking about keeping Romy as it? No, I don't. I think they put themselves in a position where Romy Gonzalez is first off the bench. They have one of the better benches in baseball. You would trade Marcel for Marte if we're trying to win right now. Again, yeah, this isn't me saying it'd be a dumb idea. Right? This isn't me saying that it doesn't make any sense for the Red Sox to trade Meyer for Ketel Marte. I'm just sitting here saying I will be heartbroken if they do trade Meyer. I just think this dude's going to be incredible. And I think next year, he figured out his wrists a little bit. If he could stay healthy and stay on the field, he's going to be an electric player. So I just Personally, I just don't want him traded, right? Like, but again, it's sort of like a lot of you guys are with Jaren Duran, right? Where you see and understand the reasoning behind why you would trade this guy. You just don't want him traded because you like him, you know? Casas needs to hit 10 in April, or when he gets his chance, he need to crush immediately or he's done. Nah. If the Red Sox do the job right, if he's a decent player, they'll hold on to him, I think. Who's going to be Roman's roommate if we trade Meyer? I'm pretty sure Roman can afford to live on his own at this point. So you think Alonso will sign the next couple of days when the winners' meetings start? I kind of do, yeah. I do kind of. Um, I don't think these guys are going to. I don't think that these guys are going to wait super long. I don't think Alonso wants to be a free agent forever, and I certainly don't think he wants to end up in a situation where he did last year, where he had to take this sort of 3-year with the opt out kind of deal. I don't think 2026 is the go all in year. Too many holes to plug. But what holes need to be, what true like big holes do the Red Sox need to plug, Brent? What are the like waters coming in on the boat type holes? Another $1.99 super chat. Thank you so much, man. Been thinking about Kyle Bearclaw's sacrifice. Yeah. Yeah. Once in a while. Sounds like Alonso, Bregman, Schwarber all want this wrapped up and not going to be long. Yeah, I kind of think so too. I'm so scared we'll end up with Polanco and Marcelo Zuna. Brother, I would be so heated. What would you say so far are our long-term needs? Long-term needs would be a 30-plus home run guy, I think. Like you sit there and you kind of look at the pipeline, you kind of look at what the Red Sox are at. They got a lot of potential legitimate superstars, right? Or not a lot. They've got a couple. Let me rephrase that. They've got a few guys on this roster that I think could break out and become legitimate stars. Like Roman Anthony, I think is at the top of that list, right? I think Wilyer Abreu, when you're talking about prolific hitters, could end up on that list if he could figure out how to hit lefties. But you don't really have a guy who you could just pencil in for, hey, this dude's going to hit 30, right? You traded that guy away this offseason. And it sucks that he's sitting here saying, hey, man, we need to fill this exact hole that we had filled for the last 7 years. But that's where we're at here, right? And then the other thing I think, too, would be a certified number 2, right? I think Sonny Gray has that potential, but Sonny Gray's not a long-term solution. If you can get a guy with, control who can be a number 2 immediately and continue developing into a number 2, yeah, I'm all in on that guy as well. I think those are the two biggest things. I think your bullpen will be okay. You've got a lot of pitchers in the pipeline. You can always move some of them into the bullpen if you need to. I think contact-wise, you're going to be better next season. I do think there are going to be some guys who are able to cut down on the strikeouts a bit. I'm looking specifically at Roman Anthony, Wilyer Abreu. I think those, again, two guys that I think could easily cut down on strikeouts. Again, you add in a Bregman or something like that. That's another guy who can help you with strikeouts. And at the end of the day, too, you can have a little bit of swing and miss in your game if you're putting the ball out of the yard. The reason strikeouts were such a massive point of contention for a lot of us as Red Sox fans is because we sat there and we said, look, but Story was leading the team with 25 homers. Right? If you're going to score via contact, you got to make contact, right? If you're going to score via the home run, okay, fine. If 3 out of the 10 times you're up on base, you've got runners on base, you're hitting home runs, you're still scoring a crap ton of runs here. Right? But if the other 7 times you're striking out, you don't notice those as much as if you're sitting there saying you need doubles. And if you're not getting doubles or singles or sacrifice flies, you're not scoring. And all of a sudden, you're 3 out of 10 times here are 1-run singles or 1-run doubles or a sacrifice fly. There's a big difference. So I think that's a huge thing too. I think teams will now be a little bit nervous with Valdez's character issues for sure. For sure. Corner infielders that play defense to get in with some pop. Yeah. What's the plan for Sandoval? Like I said, someone mentioned this actually. I think it was Mark. I don't know if he's in here. Mark. I think it was Mark who was like, "Why are we ignoring Patrick Sandoval?" I'll tell you exactly why I'm ignoring Patrick Sandoval, because if it's the Red Sox mindset of Patrick Sandoval is going to be a dog this season, they're in a really bad spot, right? He hasn't pitched in a year. You know, even when he did pitch, there were seasons where he was really good. There were seasons where he wasn't very good. I know he played for the Angels, so they're an absolute crap show over there. But if that's who you're relying on, I don't know. Like to me, it'd be a much better situation if the Red Sox have to come in 2026 and sit there and say, look, dude, you got to go into the bullpen as opposed to we're penciling you in as our number 4 starter. There's a big gap in terms of, you know, what this means for the Red Sox, right? I don't want to trade any of our young players, but we also never won anything. With Fisk, Evans, Rice, Lynn, would you have traded Rice for a World Series trophy? I think a lot of fans probably would have. I don't know I don't know the team well enough, so I couldn't tell you whether or not what they needed. I wasn't alive then. Corbin, do you think the Red Sox are quietly hoping Early's the number 2 starter? I think the Red Sox are quietly hoping any of those guys are number 2 starter, right? But, you know, I also don't think Breslow is one of those people. I don't want to put that on him. I don't want to give him that much credit. I'm hoping that the Red Sox want these guys to develop into a number 2, but aren't going to wait until they become a number 2. Does that make sense? Who hates the Yankees more, Chapman or Gray? If you want a serious answer, I think it's Chapman. I think it's Chapman. Sonny said all the right things in that press conference. I still love him for it, but he knew he was saying all the right things, right? I think Chapman said it because he genuinely despises them. Would I trade Roman Anthony for any player in the major leagues right now? Shohei Ohtani. That's the list. That's genuinely the list. What's going on with Cutter? He'll be healthy. I'd imagine Cutter's right now more destined to be in the bullpen. We'll see, right? I mean, Cutter could also be a really great number 4 or 5 for you, so. Tolley and Witherspoon are the only 2 with legit top of the rotation upside. Right now, yes, Ryan. I think that's correct. I think you're underrating Paredes a little bit. Before Tommy John, he was destined to be at the top of the Red Sox rotation. Obviously, a little bit different now, but I think you're underrating him a little bit. Early, I think, yeah, a lot of people would agree with you that sort of his ceiling's at number 3, sort of workhorse type pitcher. But you wouldn't have won a World Series without Eovaldi, right? I think a lot of people considered Eovaldi a legitimate number 2 for a long period of time here, and I think your ceiling could be Eovaldi with Conley Early. I would consider him number 2 potential. You just the problem is right now the only thing you can go off of is stuff, right? Early doesn't have a great fastball, but he's got great other stuff. I don't know. You wouldn't trade Anthony for Skubal or Skeens? Maybe Skeens. Absolutely not Skubal. With 1 year left, God no. If Tolley gets traded, I ride. I do love that guy. Watch, we'll sign Chris Bassett or Carson or Merrill Kelly and be done pitching. I wouldn't hate a Merrill Kelly. But I'd be a little bit heated for that. Velo floor is low. Yeah, that's the problem, Robbie. Hey, listen, again, in my video today, I talked about him working hard on adding velocity to his game. And that's really, he was right? His velocity has increased every year he's been in the minor leagues. I don't know. Braden, liking every video. Hey, man, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I wouldn't totally dismiss Early as a top rotation guy right now. Harrison to me is a reliever right now, for sure. Like Harrison to me, if he's in the rotation, something went awry, in my opinion. Would I rather keep Narvi or sign JT Realmuto? It's not even a remote conversation. it's Narvaez. It's not even close, right? 5 years ago, it's JT Realmuto without thinking twice. But right now, it's Narvaez, and it's not close. Realmuto's got what? 2, 3, maybe 4 years left in Major League Baseball. Narvaez is just starting his career, dude. I'm taking Narvaez every single time. Did Narvaez end up with a positive? Did he end up with a positive? Yeah, he did. He literal dead average, league average, right? If you could be a league average bat like this with a little bit of pop and elite defense, I mean, you're getting JT Realmuto, right? What up, Kerwa? I don't know. I'll just call you 6'9". What's the backup plan if we don't get Schwarber or Alonso? I don't think they have one. I think they need to. I think they need to sign one of them. What's my opinion on Franklin Arias and his potential? I've rarely heard anything about him. Arias is a really great prospect. And you're right, you haven't heard much about him. And you want to know why that is? It's because everyone's focused on the big league club, which they should be, right? But, this is a dude who he's never going to be a crazy home run guy, right? If you look at his home run totals, they're not anything big, but he's going to be a great, his max potential here, right, is as a great contact forward, everyday defensive shortstop. He's a great defensive shortstop. We'll see, though. This is a very much we'll see, right? I don't think he's in the same realm as, when Meyer was a prospect or when Anthony was a prospect or Campbell, right? He's not one of those crazy, this is going to be a dog, but he could be an everyday, really good, I think kind of like a, I don't want to say Dansby Swanson because then it's like, oh, that was a really good player or is a really good player, I should say, still in the league. But if his peak I could see is Dansby Swanson, where it's like a really great defensive player, little bit of pop here and there, but mostly a gap-to-gap type player. So, when's the Campbell soup emoji coming? If he makes the team this year, I'll definitely. I'll definitely make some more emotes. We'll probably we have a Roman Anthony one. We might make a Sonny Gray one. I don't know. We'll have some fun with it. We need to find a way off of Moss's contract. Yeah, I think that's kind of quietly a really big focus for the Red Sox, right? I think with the Red Sox, we haven't really seen it mentioned. We haven't seen a lot of conversations about it. But if the Red Sox can get off of Moss's contract, they have so much more room to play with. The problem is you're gonna have to find somebody who wants Masataka Yoshida's contract, right? It's not just, hey, man, you want Masa? Great. It's going to be, hey, man, you want Masa? Okay, what are we going to have to eat in order to get that done? Right? Like Ohtani and Soto? Who's like Ohtani and Soto, dude? There's not a single player on this market right now, not one, that's even remotely close to Ohtani and Soto. And I love Kyle Schwarber. Don't get me wrong, but not close. What's going on with Triston Casas? What do you mean what's going on? I don't know. He's probably he's down in Fort Myers, spending the entire offseason rehabbing. That's what I know. Masa, Duran, and Arias for Hunter Green. I don't even think if you had Masa that, I don't think it gets done. Although the Reds do want to spend a bit of money, so maybe no, there's no way. In reality, there's not any way. Someone better have Jordan Hicks as a project this offseason. Yeah, well, that's not going to happen. They're not trading him. Who's worse, Masa or Jordan Hicks, considering contract? Right now, I think it's Jordan Hicks. I think it is. Because at least Masa had some positives towards the end of the year. They get fans excited. Get ready for Planko. Who the hell is Planko? People are talking like Jorge Polanco would be like a terrible get for the Red Sox. It's Polanco, sir. You would be genuinely upset about this, T-Do. I get it. You want Schwarber, you want Alonso, you want Bregman. But you'd be genuinely upset with this signing. I don't know, dude. I don't think I'd be genuinely upset. If it's the only signing they make, sure, I'd be upset. Hicks and Massa for a bag of baseballs, literally. I don't even know if a bag of baseballs would get that job done. Like, is he expendable if we sign Alonso? Talk about Casas? Yeah. Casas does become a bit expendable. But at the same time, too, right? Again, you trade Masataka Yoshida, you figure out something to do with him, or even you just let that contract run out or whatever. All right, Tito, here's what I want. If the Red Sox sign one of Bregman, Schwarber, Alonso, I want you to come in here and say, I apologize, I was wrong. Deal? And if they mess up, I will post a full video apologizing to you as well. They don't sign any of those guys, I will do the same thing oppositely. Deal? But anyways, back to this Triston Casas conversation. If the Red Sox find a way to open up this DH spot, right? Why would you sell super low on Casas when you could kind of let him develop and develop, really get back to hopefully 100% in AAA, and then use him kind of as a DH sort of flip-flop between Casas and Alonso, right? I don't think that if you get Alonso, it means that Casas becomes expendable, but it is much easier to trade him, and I think that's a true reality. But again, like you don't have to trade. And I actually we made a video about Casas a bit, right? And sort of the reality surrounding him. The reality is right now, there's no reality. Right? There's no answer as to what Triston Casas is going to be because we don't even know what he's going to look like post-injury. Like, this is I think we're underrating how big of an injury this is, right? It's difficult. It's difficult for anyone to come back to this, but it's difficult for a hitter to come back and do it, right? So the first things first is you need to make sure he's healthy, right? There's no point in trading this guy because other teams are going to be saying the same damn thing. So I sit here with that and I'm like, it just doesn't make sense to me to trade Casas when he's not a real reality for anything right now. You're in the other room, heard somewhat on Sandoval. What's the skinny again? My skinny was if the Red Sox are pretending to have Sandoval in their rotation this offseason, something went wrong. Like you cannot assume that this guy's going to be in the rotation. What, Mike? You kind of like the idea of Casas learning all kinds of the craft from Alonso? And Alonso getting suntanning tips in return. It would be a very funny dynamic, I think. You're worried about Casas' long-term health? Yeah, I think if you're a Red Sox fan, you should be. Winter meetings start this Sunday. Go New England Patriots. Are we just stating facts here? So they wasted $18 million on Sandoval? I don't know about waste because we don't know what he's gonna be, right? My point was you can't assume that he's going to be a good pitcher in your rotation. You just can't. And even if he ends up as a bullpen arm, okay, fine. That means you're in a good spot, right? Couldn't Sandoval be this season's Justin Wilson? Yeah, exactly. Casas needs to play in spring training games. He's definitely not going to play in spring training games. Maybe he gets into one or two. Can't wait for the start of winter meetings. Same. I love winter meetings. Yeah, winter meetings start Sunday, for those of you who don't know. I'm asking if he's going to get on the field. Oh, yeah, he'll be on the field for sure. He'll play this year. For sure. I was talking more so about whether or not he'll be in the rotation. Are you being linked to any other high-end relievers? No, I haven't seen much about the relief market in the Red Sox. Do I know if the 2026 draft class is good or not? I have no idea. I will be honest, right? There's things I don't know. There's a lot of things I don't know. I'm just a fan. One of those things is college baseball and high school baseball. I am terrible at sort of sitting there and being like, oh, this guy's got it, right? This is the guy I want. I'm just not good at it. I don't know overall either. Is the relief market strong or weak? I would say it's strong. I'd say there's some good there's some good options out there still. Even if Edwin Diaz is quarter out of your price range, there's definitely guys who can help this team. And I do think the Red Sox end up with one of them. Yeah, I got to watch more college baseball this year. I know, dude. You know what happens is I get so wrapped up. I get so wrapped up in Major League Baseball, I just don't have time for anything else, dude. Like this offseason, I sit there and I get into things that I've been wanting to get. Like I just started collecting comic books again for the first time in years. Because I was like, I finally have time to breathe. I just during regular season baseball, I don't know, man. I got no time. Corbin, what's up? I'm watching MLB Network now. If I see any signings by the Red Sox in this show, I'll let you know about it. Okay. Appreciate it. We may have to do a Discord call where we watch a game or two, watch early season in March. Yeah, maybe that's what I'll do. Amazing Spider-Man. My dad, I'm going on a tangent about comics for a second, so strap in, folks. My dad started collecting Amazing Spider-Man very early on when they started to come out. So now he's looking at his collection, specifically the Amazing Spider-Man collection, and he's trying to fill in the gaps. He's having an incredibly difficult time because what he needs are basically like, he needs obviously like he doesn't have 1, 2. He has like some in the 10s and some in the teens. So now he's trying to like fill in those gaps, and it's pretty incredible watching him try and figure out how to like get those comics because they're just such incredible comics. But he has some unbelievable comics, man. I'm more of a DC man myself. I was a big Batman guy as a kid. Now that I'm back into comics, I'm collecting a lot of like the Absolute series and stuff like that. Bay Sox with another $2.99 super chat because he's like, hey man, stop talking about comics, you dork. He said, offseason, Reagan/Ryan Bregman, Alonso, Luke Weaver. I mean, that's an ideal offseason, right? For sure. It's the ideal offseason. I don't see, at this point right now, I don't see both Bregman and Alonso. It should be both Bregman and Alonso, but I don't see both Bregman and Alonso. I think it'll be one of Bregman or Alonso and Okamoto. That's my official prediction. Duran looked like Spider-Man 24 a little bit. Star Wars fan. So are you collecting this Star Wars comic? Your son's DC, you're total Marvel. Your father has good taste. Yeah, he does. It's been, dude, like he'll pull those out once in a while. It's really incredible. It's not that I don't collect Marvel stuff. It's just that like I'm more of a DC fan. World Baseball Classic, you pumped? Yeah, dude, I'm psyched. We're probably going to, once that starts, we'll probably watch a few of the games actually together, like live stream it and we'll probably do Team USA with Whitlock. We'll see if Abreu ends up on Venezuela and we'll do stuff like that. Yeah, that's a great collection, Dallas. That's a rare one a little bit, right? You liked Superman Red Sun quite a bit. So here's what I've been doing is I kind of jumped back into DC and just started collecting current because it was easier for me to just like the Absolute series came out and I was like, okay, this is what I'm collecting, right? So I'm doing Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, Flash, Wonder Woman, and Martian Manhunter. And then I started branching out a bit, Moon Knight, Punisher. I'm just looking at my collection right now. Nightwing. And then the other thing I've been doing is I've been buying, those like they're comic books, like literal books. It's not just like the, 20-page whatever chapter type book. That's what I've been trying to collect. So if you guys have any good like DC, like I just read Batman: A Court of Owls. I picked up oh my god, Superman All-Star. Is that what it was? Was that the 2016 run? Duran for Mike Trout so he could play first base. If the Red Sox trade for Mike Trout and put him at first base, I would die. That would be unbelievably funny. Oh yeah, Jack. Martian Manhunter is a dog. Comics Explained. Yeah, so yeah. I love Comics Explained. I just watched Batman: A Long Halloween on there. Bobby, thank you so much for becoming a member for 11 months in a row, man. That's incredible. Thank you. Thank you so much. Flash comics. Flashpoint's probably your favorite series. That makes sense. That obviously a great series. The Absolute DC stories have been really fun and interesting. Yeah, I love them, dude. The Batman one might be one of my favorite. Might be legitimately one of my favorite Batman stories ever so far, right? And obviously it's got a build and stuff, but we'll see. I love it. You know what I've been using for Comics Explained? A lot of the Mutant, a lot of the X-Men stuff, because that to me, like, I picked up some newer X-Men stuff. I have no idea who these guys are, or girls are. So I've been doing Comics Explained for X-Men. How do we get here, chat? How do we get here? Let's get back to baseball. Who's got a baseball question? Let's figure out a baseball conversation. Flash and Aquaman. I'm not a huge Aquaman, man. I just can't get into him. Let's see. What do we got on the timeline here, chat? Wow. Rob doesn't watch me. Interesting. Interesting. Do we have any sort of baseball news going on here? Miguel Rojas. No, not much. I love Triston Casas, dude. I really do hope that Triston Casas ends up making a legitimate comeback. Like, honestly, man, I just like this is such a funny, like, he's just such a funny guy. He really is. This is also a hilarious video. If you guys are into Section 10, this is hilarious. A lot of Drake May stuff. Shout out. How soon do I see the Red Sox? Okay. Brother, I'm begging you. Facebook is not a reliable place to go for conversations about signings. It just isn't. The Red Sox are not signing Framber Valdez to a 6-year, $174 million deal. It's not happening. You just start watching the Red Sox documentary on Netflix. It's making me feel more for Bayo. Yeah. I agree. But I don't know. Like, looking back on that Netflix series, I didn't love it. Like, it was cool, but like I haven't had like a need to watch it again. If you had to guess, do you think Romy will regress? And if you do, how much do you think he will? I think there's going to be some regression. I mean, dude, you look at his 2025 campaign. It was legit like everyday player stuff. I mean, it was better than just a regular everyday player, right? He was a legitimate good player in 2025. Like, he was a good player. But you sit there and you say, can he repeat this? I don't think so. Can he be more like this? Yeah, I think he can be more like this. If you get Romy Gonzalez at this level, the 2024 level, where he's like a plus 700 OPS guy, he plays, 80, 90 games, you're in a good spot, I think, You're kind of excited about Sonny Gray? I'm genuinely excited about Sonny Gray. Yeah, Sonny Gray was a guy who, like, my initial reaction was I don't love this. It's more like a Giolito replacement. I do think it's still kind of a Giolito replacement, but like, this could be a Giolito replacement who becomes an absolute dog, right? Like if you get this season, you're not going to get out of it. Like, you're not going to get a 279 out of him. But if you get like a 384 out of him, you're in a really good spot. I really like Sonny Gray. I know there's a lot of people who don't. The literal only thing that worries me about Sonny Gray is his age. Like, 36 is old, right? Let's just be honest. It's old in baseball standards. You got to kind of sit here and weed through it a bit when you're 36 years old. Man, Mike, that's wild. Polanco can't D up and is not worth it, not good enough. I don't know. I don't know that Polanco's not good enough. Like, if this is your supplemental bat, like if Jorge Polanco's your supplemental bat, I think you're in a decent spot, man. There's some good stuff here. There's some good stuff here. You're right. He's not a good defender. For sure, he's not a good defender. Solid base runner. My only thing is he would have to be mostly a DH, right? He'd be mostly a DH. Has he ever had, like, good defensive seasons? Man, he had a bad 24, huh? He has never had a good defensive season. Oh, this is a decent one. Back in 2017. My only fear with Polanco is he hits most of his home runs to the left hand or to the right hand side here. My worry with that is, hey man, if you're gonna play at Fenway Park, that's got to be flip flopped, right? I'm curious, how much better is he? Is there like a big statistical difference in what side of the plate he hits from? Just do 25. I guess we'll do platoon splits. Yeah, he's much better against left-handed pitching, which is interesting. Maybe he goes opposite field a lot. Still, I don't love it, right? I was hoping we were going to go after Naylor. Yeah, the Mariners were never letting Naylor leave. I kind of figured Naylor would always end up with the Mariners. I did think it was going to take a little bit more time. If you could choose any Red Sox front office job, what would it be? Even assistant to learn one position? It'd probably be in like player relations, dude. I don't want the stress of having to make decisions about the roster. I also wouldn't be very good at scouting. So yeah, I think it'd be something in like player relations. Like I think I'd be good at that. What do you think Gio gets on the market? Could he return if the market dries up in a couple months? I don't think he returns. No. In terms of what he could get on the market, I'd imagine it's probably like a 2-year, $25 million deal, somewhere in that range. He's not going to get a ton, I don't think. I think the injuries really scared him. Really scare a lot of people. Any updates on Bregman? No, we did get a passing thread on Threads. But it was more so just like, yeah, his market looks good. That's about it. Thoughts on Brendan Donovan? I would love Brendan Donovan, dude. I think Brendan Donovan is really good. But this to me is sort of a backup plan, right? I think he's a good bat. He's young-ish. He's been a solid bat basically his entire career. Not going to give you pop, though. He's not going to give you pop. He's just going to make a whole bunch of contact. You know what I mean? And I like that. I like it. I would enjoy this, but I don't know that this would be like the name. If Polanco hits 50 home runs this year for the Sox, yeah, I guess that's true, Mike. Think you're going to get us a trader signing tonight? I will tell you this. I've been live streaming these off seasons. This is my second off season really live streaming these like every week, right? We have had a trader signing happen one singular time, and it was the Verdugo trade to the Yankees. Outside of that, no. Someone said Bregman sold his apartment. Can't confirm. That is, dude, those are my least favorite reports ever. I hate those reports. I hate them. Right? Yeah, if he's going to sign a longer-term deal, he's probably going to get a house. like, that doesn't mean, like, I feel like regardless, even if he came back to the Red Sox, he'd sell his apartment. Or maybe it was a lease, and the lease ended up only being like 10 months because they made a special exception because he's a baseball player. You know what I mean? What are my expectations for the Sox in the winter meetings? My expectations aren't crazy high. It's all going to depend on the market and what's sort of moving. My baseline is we get another piece of the puzzle, right? I don't think we're going to get the full picture yet. But I think we get a piece of the puzzle. When does it start? Sunday. It's Sunday through Wednesday. William Brady was just on MLB Tonight. He did a whole interview in English. Oh, that's awesome. Good for him. I need to learn Spanish, man. But he's trending down fast. There's so many misconceptions about Bregman, dude. There really are. Trending down fast. Let's see, chat. So he was better this year than he was in his last 2 seasons. That to me isn't a trend this way. It's a trend that way. Is it not, Chad? I mean, I feel like, yeah, he played less games this year than he's played in the last 3 seasons. But you could say, could injuries catch up to him? But to say, to sit here and say that he's trending in the wrong direction, I think is a little bit ludicrous, right? Like, yeah, no, he's just not. What is the winter meetings about? It's basically just everybody get together and figure things out. Basically what it is. Like there's a Rule 5 draft in there. There's some other stuff in there, but it's basically just every GM get in there, meet with. There are a ton of players there too. Meet with all those guys, get deals done. Basically, it's essentially. I think I don't know if this is actually what it was set up to be, but it's essentially a way for MLB to try and sort of ignite the offseason, right? The MLB offseason is incredibly slow. It's great because you get to talk about every single player, but it's also incredibly slow. So I think this is them. When did winter meetings start? Let me see. When did? They went all the way back to 1927. Excuse me? Yeah, see, to discuss league business. See, yeah, so it's really not. It's quite literally this. That's crazy that this went all the way back to 1927, dude. Has Boston ever hosted one? No, of course they haven't. Who would want to go to Boston in the middle of goddamn winter? Yeah, they're all in warm places. Although National Harbor, Maryland, what? I think Breslo's going to continue to work quietly and do something no one's reporting. I'm just curious as to who that could even be. What's up, Eric? Early having a huge season. I don't think Houck healthy. Yeah, Houck's definitely not playing this year, brother. Just go over rules in the Rule 5 draft and things like that. I thought the rule changes was the GM meetings at the beginning of the year. What do you think the Sox have to give up for Sandy Alcantara? I don't know, dude. Like the 2001 was Boston. 1996 was Boston. 1996. 2001 was Boston. We're in here, chat. Breslo's a clever guy. May pull a rabbit out of that. Yeah. You think Tatis Jr. could be an option no one's talking about? No, I don't. You're interested in it, Dallas? It's going to be good, I think. Sandy's not really needed anymore. I don't know about not needed. I don't know about not needed. I actually kind of do know about not needed. Who's someone I really want that no one's talked about a lot? No real mood though. I agree. No real mood though. This guy, Andrew Abbott. No one's really talking about Andrew Abbott. And people, and I understand the concerns with Andrew Abbott. But man, oh man, I wanted him before the 2025 season. Look what he did in the 2025 season, right? 287 ERA, 366 FIP, a 4-WAR season. Pitched in 166 innings. The only problem is he's not a huge strikeout guy, right? That's the problem. But the Red Sox have been pretty good at figuring out how to get guys to strike out. So if they could figure that out, then I'd be very down. I really like this guy. I like him. I understand there's a reason not a ton of people are talking about him. but I really like him. Nick Lodolo is another one that I really like. I haven't seen a ton about him. I've definitely seen a few. When is he MLB? Yeah, he's a free agent after 28. Problem with Lodolo is this season was the first season we really lived up to expectations. Also not a huge K guy, but Sandy feels like Walker all over again. Yeah, 2027's free agent class isn't great. Bay already doesn't strike anyone out. No thanks. I don't know, dude. Abbott, I think, is like, if you compare it, let's compare. But also, like, Bayo also had, like, a sub-4 ERA this season. So, like, is it really? Eric, thank you so much for gifting a membership to someone in the chat. Kyle, make sure you say thank you to Eric. We appreciate you here. Thanks, man. Oh, right. I'm an idiot. Is this career again? Whatever. I mean, he definitely strikes out more people than Bayo, right? I mean, clearly. The strikeout rate is 5% higher, basically. Walk rate's lower. Like, I think this still a better pitcher. No, this is 2020. This is 2025. Okay. Strikeouts per 9 was almost 2 more per 9 innings than Brian Bayo. Hits per 9, like, these were based the same. He just walked less people, struck out more people. That's quite literally the difference between Andrew Abbott and Brian Bayo. So if you get a guy who's a little bit better at striking guys out and a little bit better at keeping guys off bases, I mean, that's a number 2, right? Brian Bayo was very close to a number 2 this year. I think for the most part of the year, he was a number 2. Now you add in a guy who's just a little bit better at striking out guys and a little bit better at keeping the ball in the zone. Right? Like, that would be huge. So I don't know about this whole, like, he doesn't strike anybody out. Just because his strikeouts aren't a 10 per 9 doesn't mean he's not getting swing and miss. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we're sitting here, demanding a 10K per 9. All right, Tito, I appreciate you being here, my friends. Another gifted sub from Eric, man. I appreciate you. Chris, can we get some thank yous in the chats? Make sure you say thank you. Man, that's really nice of you. Thank you. So that's one of the guys I'd be looking at in terms of, hey, this is a dude who I don't think a lot of people are talking about. Who are my two least favorite players in the league? 2 least favorite players in the league? I might make a video on Andrew Abbott tomorrow. You got me all hot and bothered. Yeah, Manny Machado, I think, is up there. I've hated. Oh, I got it. I don't know why I had to think about that for so long. Manny Machado and Alejandro Kirk. I can't give you a reason. I could give you a reason for Machado. It's the same reason as everybody else, right? I can't give you any reason for Alejandro Kirk. I just don't like the guy. I just don't. Another one, too, is Ben Rice. Ben Rice is another guy I can't stand. I think he's just such a little snotty brat. I don't know. That's the only way I could put it. And he's a really good baseball player, so that makes me mad too. So those are the 2 where I'd sit there. I'd be like, man, if they disappeared from Major League Baseball, I wouldn't blink an eye. All right, chat. This has been a great stream, actually. I think we had a ton of fun this stream. We talked about a ton on this stream, actually. I was actually gonna make my video tomorrow about this rumor about the Red Sox adding another pitcher, but we already talked about it, so now I gotta figure something new out. Either way, we covered a lot. I appreciate you being here. To all of those who donated, for those of you who gifted memberships, who became a member today, thank you from the bottom of my heart. For those of you who just stuck around and talked ball with me, thank you as well. It meant a lot to me. Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow with a new video. Obviously, it's Thursday, which will be fun. Oh, wait, I was going to do the Movember plug, but we don't need to do that anymore. We hit our goal for Movember, so thank you all very much for doing that as well. Yeah, if that's... Oh, wait, I always got to do my subscribe spiel here. If you guys haven't considered subscribing, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. We talk Red Sox content almost every single day, except for Sundays, although sometimes we do Sundays instead of Saturdays. It doesn't really matter. We talk Sox a lot. Appreciate you guys being here, and I will see you all in the red seat.